115-the underscore foolish underscore dharma underscore of underscore and underscore idiot underscore clothed underscore in underscore mud underscore and underscore feathers underscore by underscore Düdjom underscore Lingpa. The foolish dharma of an idiot clothed in mud and feathers. By Düdjom Lingpa. In that very instant I awoke from the dense slumber of the mind into the Buddha field of Ekanistha, the absolute space of phenomena, free of extremes. My own pristine awareness arose as the Dharmakaya teacher, the great, immutable, all-pervasive Lord. The creative power of self-emergent primordial consciousness manifested as a display of myriad disciples. And its own inner glow appeared as the great expanse of the spontaneously actualized great perfection. How amazing! To those whose minds are utterly dedicated to the one path traveled by all the jinnas, who know they have arrived at a crossroads, but due to the blindness to the view, cannot see with certainty where to go, I guess this is a bit of what I, an old man who knows the way, would tell them. Some brilliant scholars disparage the Dharma and individuals, and with skill in ridicule abandon the Dharma and commit root downfalls. With the full ripening of that karma, they are vaulted into the depths of the ocean of samsara. In the eyes of such experts, if even the teachings of the jinnas are not appealing, there's no need to speak of others' teachings. If I are in the eyes of others who are endowed with the eye of wisdom and proper conduct, I confess and disclose all the breaches of conduct, vices, and downfalls committed in all my lifetimes. May they be purified and cleansed, and may I please be granted the supreme siddhi in this very lifetime. While I have sat at the feet of sublime human teachers and spiritual mentors and drunk the ambrosia of the teachings, I have not become an authority. Nevertheless, on occasion this fool has engaged in stupid meditations that I have fabricated myself. On the basis of illusory visions in dreams, in which others have granted me pointing out instructions, I have engaged in investigation and analysis and tried very hard to practice. However, since I have not encountered a guru to lead me on the path, I have developed a growing sense of high self-esteem, pride, and arrogance. That is my experience, and I have proudly taken it to be realization and have confidence in it. Since I definitely lack even the slightest excellent qualities of unmistaken primordial consciousness stemming from an authentic view and meditation, I have behaved as in the well-known aphorism, while the marmot seems to be practicing meditation, it is actually just hibernating. I am candidly revealing my own faults, without hiding anything, so please look upon me with compassion. However, if I express the offering of my heart's blood while at least not violating the teachings of my sublime gurus, then what else is there to do but right? In my opinion, if you don't submit your own snout to the hook and rope of self-centeredness, but rather aspire for the hereafter by thinking of definitely reaping a harvest for all future lives, free of deception, then if you don't do something meaningful in this present precious human rebirth with its leisure and opportunity, it will be difficult to obtain such an opportunity repeatedly in the future. This occasion, of circumstances aligning and finding freedom, is no more than a dream, so if you pointlessly squander it when you lose such freedom, what will you do? Carefully reflect on this and know your own situation for yourself. This is the first point. On this occasion, when you have such a bounty of opportunities in terms of your body, environment, friends, spiritual mentors, time, and practical instructions, without procrastinating until tomorrow and the next day, arouse a sense of urgency, as if a spark landed on your body or a grain of sand fell in your eye. If you have not swiftly applied yourself to practice, examine the births and deaths of other beings and reflect again and again on the unpredictability of your lifespan and the time of your death, and on the uncertainty of your own situation. Meditate on this until you have definitively integrated it with your mind. This is the second point. Now on the delusive, vast, illusory plane of emanations and transformations, reckless lunatics ride the blind, wild steed of spiritual sloth, and, lacking the reins to control it, they lash it again and again with the whip of negligence. Thus, although there was a time when they could have sown a perennial harvest for all their lifetimes, from this life onward they are relentlessly impaled on the sharp spokes of the wheel of samsara and the miserable states of existence. Fierce karmic energies bind them, they have nowhere to escape, and they are cast from one life to another. When that time comes, for you, you will have no freedom. Rather than wondering whether there is anyone who can protect you when you arrive in such a great fire pit of suffering, put off human pretense and the pursuit of this life's affairs. This is the third point. These 3 points are the field of sublime Dharma, the exhortation to achieve liberation, and the soul guide, guardian, and spiritual mentor to turn you away from the paths that descend into the dungeon of suffering of samsara and the miserable states of existence. The spirit of emergence and spiritual zeal of those who lack these 3 points are like dew in the summertime. Hey! Individuals endowed with karma and good fortune have obtained a life of leisure and opportunity due to the assembly and timely ripening of a causal nexus of fortuitous connections of karma and prayers. The fruits of that which was sown previously are being used up right now, but whatever joys and sorrows the future holds depend on you. The appearances of this life, including your surroundings and friends, are like last night's dream, and this life passes more swiftly than a flash of lightning in the sky. There is no end to this meaningless work. What a joke to prepare to live forever. Wherever you are born in the heights or depths of samsara, the great noose of suffering will hold you tight. Acquiring freedom for yourself is as rare as a star in the daytime, so how is it possible to practice and achieve liberation? The root of all mind training and practical instructions is planted by knowing the nature of existence. There is no other way. I, an old vagabond, have shaken my beggar's satchel, and this is what came out. Having established those teachings as your foundation, with constant devotion offer prayers of supplication to your Guru. Outwardly, imagine your Guru on the crown of your head. Inwardly, visualize your own body as the Guru. Secretly, again and again transfer your own vital energies, mind, and consciousness, and non-dually merge them with the non-conceptual primordial consciousness of your Guru's mind. This is the first point. With devotion and affection, visualize your companions as being of the nature of VAJRAs and Dakhinas, and see the fine qualities of your Guru and Dharma siblings rather than looking at the faults. This is the second point. In this limitless realm of samsara, among all sentient beings, who are tormented and bound by unbearable suffering, there is not even one who has not been your father or mother. In other times, like your present father and mother, they cared for you with food and comfortable clothing and benefited you in countless ways. Having protected you from immeasurable fears and miseries, they have all been enormously kind. What they all desire is happiness, but in terms of the behavior, these poor fools engage in the causes and sow the seeds of suffering. Feeling compassion for each one, constantly reflect on this until heartfelt compassion causes tears to flow from your eyes and your midstream is subdued. Beyond that, make the resolution, I shall bring them to the state of omniscient, unsurpassed, authentic, perfect Buddhahood, and apply yourself to the practice of the sublime, profound Dharma. Whatever Dharma you perform, dedicate it to all sentient beings with no partiality toward those near or far. This is the third point. These 3 are the essential nature of all dharmas, the root of all dharmas, the source of all dharmas, and the eyes and limbs of all dharmas. Without them, whatever dharma you perform will be like a corpse with no head or limbs. Hurrah! If excellent people who wish to enter the authentic path really want to practice the sublime Dharma, they should make offerings for the sake of the practice, they should make prayers of supplication to the Guru, who is the essential nature of all the Buddhas combined, and they should receive empowerment and siddhis. All food, drink, clothing, ornaments, enjoyments, movement, and rest are to be brought onto the path as Ganakakra offerings, prostrations, and circumambulations. Always regard your Dharma friends and siblings on the path who have the same samayas as you as manifestations of Vajras and Dakhinas. It is important that you honor them with heartfelt affection and with equanimity, without feeling close to those who are good or distant from those who are bad. All beings without exception have been your kind parents, and they are objects of compassion, floundering in the swamp of suffering. Without ever mentally abandoning them, generate a heroic attitude of great courage in your solemn pledge to bring them to a state of bliss. This is my innermost aspiration, but although I would like to be of benefit to fools like myself, I have no special erudition, writing skills, or attractive qualities. Know that never being separated from these 3 points is like fertile ground for practice and like the foundation stones of a fortress. When I thought of going to a big marketplace dressed up in impressive, striking clothes, but found no such attire, in the end I smeared my body with mud and stuck various twigs, grass, flowers, and feathers on it. Now I will explain the foolish meditations of one who wears mud and feathers for clothing, regarding them as if they were the finest garments and ornaments. So listen, observe, and laugh at this. Now some contemplatives these days say you should cherish good thoughts and stop bad ones, but I think this is like closing the doors and windows after a thieving dog has escaped outside and then groping about inside the dark house. Some say that you should follow after previous thoughts as if you were sending a hunting dog after a fox, and then apply antidotes. That is a good practice for novices, but I think people who spend their whole lives at this and regard it as the best of practices may be fooling themselves by compounding one delusion with another. Some observe the thoughts over there, like an old herdsman on a wide open plain watching his calves and sheep from afar. I say that, too, is a practice for novices, but if you take it alone as the path, you will build confidence in the mere meditative experiences of bliss, luminosity, and non-conceptuality. Having climbed to the top of the towering, mighty fortress of self-importance, such people look down upon others with a haughty gaze while posing majestically in the saddle of the fine steed. If I examine those whose lives pass in this way, I see that in the past they have created the causes for spinning around and around in samsara under the influence of dualistic grasping. It seems to me that if they persist in overdoing such meditation, what need is there to say that this will act as a great anchor, further grounding them in samsara? Some people say that thoughts are like bolts of lightning, that primordial consciousness, pristine awareness, is like clear light, and that the non-duality of appearances and pristine awareness is the authentic path. Others say that as soon as thoughts arise, the authentic path is to recognize for yourself the non-duality of that which appears and that which cognizes. This has the same meaning as the preceding position. It seems to me that if you are like a Garuda that can fly from its nest, it is absurd for you to expel 21,000 dead mice from your nest in a single day. 161 If you take these practices as the path and get stuck there, you will be like a blind, dazed person wandering about on a plain with no companions. Know that they are indeed indispensable, specific phases of familiarization on the path, like the 3 specific phases of childhood, youth, and adulthood in the course of a person's life. In meditative visions and dreams, I was granted pointing out instructions by way of symbols and words expressed by the glorious lake-born Vajra of Orgain, and I possess a path of my own, of stable illusory visions of my body, speech, and mind being blessed by his 3 Vajras. To summarize, novices enter the authentic path by means of investigation and familiarization. So first go to a place of solitude, sit on a comfortable cushion, and generate bodhisattva, the aspiration to achieve perfect enlightenment. With sincere devotion offer prayers of supplication to your guru and take the 4 empowerments. Then identify the primacy of the mind among the body, speech, and mind, dispelling any uncertainty about this point. Then carefully investigate this so-called mind in terms of its initial place of origin, its location in the interim, and its final destination. Analysis of these points reveals the emptiness of its origin, location, and destination. Then investigate the mind as the agent that conjures up all kinds of thoughts, seeking out its shape, color, and form, as well as its source, beginning, and end, and whether it really exists or is totally non-existent. By doing so, once you have determined with confidence that it cannot be established in any way at all, you have entered the path. If you forcefully suppress the thought process while focusing your mind single-pointedly on such things as a stick or pebble, then many obsessive thoughts will arise, as if you had blocked an irrigation canal, and your body, speech, and mind may become sharply uncomfortable. In that case, loosely relax and watch your thoughts from afar, clearly observing whatever arises. That which observes is called mindfulness, or awareness, that which is observed is called movement, and resting in that state is called stillness. Identify them as such and meditate. If you meditate earnestly, stable meditative experiences of the bliss, luminosity, and non-conceptuality of samatha will arise in your mind stream. Consequently, when stillness, movement, and awareness merge into one and all discursive thoughts are self-knowing and self-illuminating, meditate by identifying this as awareness. And when thoughts automatically scatter in all directions, meditate by identifying this as the mind of unawareness. By doing so, in accordance with the degree of sharpness of your faculties, various meditative experiences such as bliss, luminosity, vacuity, stillness, and harshness will certainly occur. Just as it has always been in the moon's nature to wax and wane, so it is in the mind's nature to be periodically happy and sad. So without hope or fear, rejection or acceptance, negation or affirmation, do not lose your own grounding in that very luminosity and cognizance. This is a crucial point. Meditative experiences and appearances disappear by themselves, fading away, unable to sustain themselves, like illusions and dreams, so recognize this. If you cherish, refute or affirm, hope or fear, or become attached to or fixate on experiences such as bliss, luminosity, vacuity, harshness, dreams, or subtle extrasensory perception, this will lead you toward errors and obscurations, so recognize this. Now I have heard elders say that meditation is the fine path of the Buddhas, so after giving this careful thought, I concluded that maybe this was something that could be seen with the eyes, held in the hands, or heard with the ears. And if those old monks could get it, then I should certainly be able to do so, too. So I went to a remote, solitary region, leaned my back against a red boulder, and spent 3 days staring in front of me. While I was asleep on the evening of the final day, a white child appeared to me and asked, "Why are you sitting here?" I replied, "I'm sitting here wondering whether I might see something like meditation." The child closed his eyes and then sang this song. Hey, hey. You, blind one, who wishes to enter the authentic path, listen. The body is like a paper bag blown by the wind. Speech is like the sound of air passing through a pipe. This mind is the creator of both samsara and nirvana. Among these three, identify which is primary. You have a long time to wait before you'll see or hear something called meditation. With those words, I woke up. Then I gave this some thought and determined the mind to be primary, but I didn't know what to do next. So a few days later in a nighttime dream, a yogin claiming to be Orgain lake-born Vajra placed a vase on my head and said, "The obscurations of your youthful body have been purified, and with this vase empowerment your body has matured into a Nirmanakaya. I anoint you as my regent. Now you must diligently investigate the origin from which this mind first arose, the location where it abides in the interim, and the destination to which it finally goes." Meditation is just that. Then he seemed to dissolve into me. On another night in a dream, a red yogin claiming to be Orgain speech Vajra said, "Son, focus your mind firmly on me. Forcefully cut off all thoughts." As a result of doing this, thoughts flowed forth uninterruptedly, so I told him my mind wasn't capable. Are you aware of their outflow? He asked. I am, I replied. Well, such thoughts are called movement. That which understands them is called awareness. Remaining in that understanding is called stillness. Never be separated from these three. With these words he poured ambrosia from a skull cup and said, with this secret empowerment, your speech has matured into the speech VAJRA. Then he seemed to dissolve into me. Then, after 3 years had passed, in a dream a young woman placed 13 white mustard seeds on a bright, clear mirror and said, Son, hold this mirror to your heart. These mustard seeds are an omen and portent indicating that in the future, your disciples will become Vidyadharas. Placing it on my heart, she sang this song. How wonderful! Son of the clear light VAJRA essence, your own mind is the basis of all of samsara and nirvana. The origin from which it first emerges is empty. The location in which it resides in the interim is empty. The destination to which it finally goes is empty. Perceive the essential nature of emptiness. It has no form, shape, color, or source. It is neither one nor many, and it is neither emanated nor reabsorbed. It transcends the parameters of existence and non-existence. It is empty of the conventional words of negation and affirmation. It is spontaneously actualized as great emptiness. It is a mirror that transcends causes and conditions and is able to give rise to all manner of reflections. Whatever light or dark colors arise, the character of its essential nature is unchanging. This is an analogy for the mind and pristine awareness. Do not regard the mind and pristine awareness as two grounds. Do not mistake pristine awareness for the mind. The mind refers to something projected by pristine awareness. The night does not occur during the daytime, and the day does not occur during the nighttime. Space does not turn into either one. Distinguish between the mind and pristine awareness in this way. Observing one thought after another is the path for achieving samatha, but you don't enter the authentic path. Moreover, sustaining your own consciousness of luminosity and cognizance allows for thoughts to release themselves. But you don't directly get to the point. Identify the ground pristine awareness. O child of wisdom and pristine awareness, the secret treasury of the Dakhanas is your inheritance. With those words she dissolved, together with the mirror, into my heart, and my body, speech, and mind were filled with joy and bliss. Those words were my rationale, so once again I ardently meditated on luminosity and cognizance. Consequently, at times it seemed as if that which appeared and that which was aware non-dually dispersed outward and then converged inward again. On other occasions, that which appeared and that which was aware were non-dually and spontaneously objectified and then naturally disappeared. At other times appearances and awareness were non-dually self-emergent and self-dissolving, such that I understood that they were not projected out from within the body. I knew that these experiences were attributable to grasping at the ground of being as an object. Then all my earlier ways of grasping naturally faded away, and I came to rest in the great, spontaneous vastness of the originally pure ground of being. All things that arose as its creative expressions naturally released themselves in their own expanse. This essential nature, together with its creative expressions, which are free of modification, antidote, meditation practice, memory, grasping, and identification, is called path pristine awareness. At that time, with the absence of mental activity, there was ultimate reality. As hopes, fears, negation, and affirmation dissolved into absolute space, there was self-emergent primordial consciousness. Without seeking, there was the spontaneously actualized essential nature of reality and the mode of being of the great Dharmakaya, free of all extremes, partiality, going, and coming. Like the sun rising in the space of the sky, free of contamination, primordial consciousness, pristine awareness, awakened in the nature of its own unmodified, self-emergent ground, and all the appearances of its creative expressions released themselves without being modified or transformed in any way. Such natural liberation is illustrated by the analogy of the non-duality of the sun and its rays. The substrate, as the essential nature of the mind, is darkness like the night. Thoughts arise as dualistic grasping at the apprehender and the apprehended, and the close identification with joy and sorrow is like the reification of a dream as being truly existent. It is not in the essential nature of the sky to change throughout the course of the day and night, but its manifest nature is affected by the sun. Likewise, in terms of its essential nature, the mind does not change, but a distinction is made between pristine awareness and the mind, based on the distinction between primordial consciousness and ignorance. The ground is the basis from which all of samsara and nirvana emerges, just as a mirror enables all manner of reflections to appear. On one hand, all of samsara and nirvana consists of creative expressions of the ground, which in their own essential nature are primordially perfect. On the other hand, I think it is contradictory for these creative expressions to be wholly present at some times and to disappear at other times. Some people say that thoughts are moments of pristine awareness and that both samsara and nirvana are wholly present in them. Others label mere self-knowing, self-illuminating thoughts as genuine pristine awareness. Still others say that luminosity and cognizance are the great perfection, like a flash of lightning. However, I think that it is incorrect to say that whatever thoughts arise with the completion of each one, all of samsara and nirvana is wholly present and disappears, for all thoughts are to be released. If that were not so, with the transient arising and passing of thoughts, it is clear that samsara and nirvana would be born and die too often. Know that the self-releasing appearances of the creative expressions, of pristine awareness, slip right into the essential nature, dissolving back into the primordial womb, like the ocean's waves that naturally subside back into the ocean, without going anywhere. Although I practiced in that way, when I encountered even a minor issue, I would lose my own grounding in the nature of existence and revert to ordinary states. For example, when I was alone and naked in the wilderness, if I were to become frightened when various ferocious animals and savages let out terrifying roars, I would be no different than an ordinary person. In that case, there would be no way I could be liberated in the intermediate period by way of such meditation. But with heartfelt faith and reverence I prayed to my Guru, the lake-born Vajra, please grant me right now practical instructions for handling such circumstances. Falling asleep with immense devotion, in a dream I had a vision of Orgain Dorje Drilo 163 appearing from an expanse of blazing fire and light, and he chanted the lyrics of this hum song. Hum hum. Supreme Being, Vajra of pristine awareness. Hum hum. Do you understand the common thread of the three realms of samsara? Hum hum. As dualistic grasping at the apprehender and the apprehended. Hum hum. Do you understand both the object and the subject? Hum hum. As two thoughts. Hum hum. Do you understand the joys and sorrows of this life and future lives? Hum hum. As delusive experiences. Hum hum. Do you understand daytime appearances, nighttime appearances, the physical world, and its sentient inhabitants? Hum hum. As experiences of light and dark. Hum hum. Do you understand the joys, sorrows, environment, and friends of this life? Hum hum. As dream experiences and delusive appearances. Hum hum. And know that they are equally unreal. Hum hum. As vast as the physical world and its sentient inhabitants are. Hum hum. They do not extend beyond the expanse of space. Hum hum. Although space has no periphery or center. Hum hum. It does not extend beyond the expanse of pristine awareness. Hum hum. Buddha fields and excellent Buddhas. Hum hum. are the face of your own ground, the nature of existence. Hum hum. Do not mistake the Buddhas as being autonomous. Hum hum. I shall cut off the errors of the Maras above. Hum hum. Enemies, demons, bad companions, and your surroundings. Hum hum. A delusive experiences of conceptual, dualistic grasping. Hum hum. Do not regard them as anything other than reification. Hum hum. I shall destroy the errors of the Maras below. Hum hum. Daytime and dream appearances. Hum hum. Are reified and clung to as names and things. Hum hum. Even though you know emptiness for yourself. Hum hum. Do you understand thoughts as aspects of your own nature? Hum hum. While you understand all of samsara and nirvana. Hum hum. As the primordial expanse of the absolute space of the ground. Hum hum. Do you understand them as non-dual displays of pristine awareness? Hum hum. Appearances of these creative expressions slip into the essential nature of uniform pervasiveness. Hum hum. Releasing themselves into that expanse. Hum hum. Do you understand that there is no practice of meditation? Hum hum. Inwardly there is the bondage of grasping at the I. Hum hum. Outwardly there is grasping and clinging to objects. Hum hum. Meditation in between is immaterial. Hum hum. Do you understand that the gateways of hum hum, outer and inner conditions obscure the face hum hum, of the great perfection of samsara and nirvana? Hum hum. First, by investigating, understanding will come. Hum hum. Next, by meditating, experiences will arise. Hum hum. Finally, by resting, realization will come. Hum hum. Once realization has occurred, it is non-dual with simultaneous liberation. Hum hum. Objects and subjects together. Hum hum. Are awakened in the mother's space of the great expanse. Hum hum. My emanations and I. Hum hum. Have never been separated. Hum hum. Their essential nature is the illusion of my own creative expressions. Hum hum. Like the dissolution of the apparitions of an illusionist. Hum hum. They are non-dual in absolute space. Fat fat. With those words he became non-dual with me, and an experience arose of my great appearances pervading all of samsara and nirvana. From that time onward, due to this sign, I knew that these were pith instructions for collapsing the false cave of appearances. To expand on this just a little, 1. Seek out the source of names, 2. Destroy grasping at the permanence of things, and 3. Collapse the false cave, which is primordially liberated within your own midstream, by knowing and realizing all of samsara and nirvana. 1. Seek out the source of names. By investigating and analyzing the tenacious grasping of saying the name I, and grasping at the thought I am, you find that the basis of designation of everything, including the flesh, blood, and bones, throughout the exterior and interior of the body, and from the crown of the head down to the soles of the feet, is non-objective and empty. Then continue to expose the error by also seeking out each of the specific names of the head, feet, arms, joints, and so on. As for the way to investigate all manners of establishing names and conventions in the external environment, by seeking out the name house, for example, in terms of its exterior, interior, upper, and lower areas, and its clay, stones, and so on, it disappears by itself. Earth becomes pottery, and the names of the upper and lower sections of stones, the tops and bottoms of trees, and so forth naturally disappear from where they are, and through transformation and modification they become water mills, stoves, pillars, and beams. Water becomes tea, fire becomes the flame of a butter lamp, air becomes a gust in a bellows, and so on. Reveal the fallacy in each of these cases that the basis of designation of such transformations, cessations, and disappearances cannot be ascertained. 2. Destroy grasping at the permanence of things. If whatever is established as an entity is definitely, truly existent and permanent in its own nature, it must be replete with 7 qualities, namely, invulnerability, indestructibility, reality, incorruptibility, stability, total unobstructability, and total invincibility. Even though things resemble this in seeming to be firm, heavy, solid, existent, and permanent, if all houses, earth, stone, fire, and water were destroyed, controlled, blown out, and dispersed, they would suddenly vanish like a dream or an illusion. Fathom this by ascertaining them as emptiness, devoid of inherent nature. In general, the whole physical world and its sentient inhabitants with all the forms, colors, shapes, and appearances that arise from the 5 elements, are empty of their own identities, disappearing into the expanse of space like clouds and mist. But even if you know that they are primordially empty from their own side, if you do not recognize them as subjects and objects of dualistic thinking, there is no benefit or harm. Like a beggar eyeing someone else's treasure chest, your knowledge is useless and trivial. 3. Collapse the false cave. If you have understanding, experience, and realization of the manner in which samsara and nirvana are not other than your own mind, this is a profound and potent point. Nevertheless, release your mind there, in its own essential nature, loose and free, and investigate all of it, its periphery, center, beginning, and end. By doing so, if it can't be established as anything, and if you carefully analyze and investigate how big and spatially pervasive it is, you will see all the 3 realms of the physical world and its sentient inhabitants as a totality within the all-pervasive expanse of space. If you do not know that and determine it, ascertain that all kinds of realms of samsara are delusive experiences and are not even remotely established as truly existent. With respect to a single fluid, hell beings see it as lava, pretas see it as pus and blood, animals see it as drink, humans see it as water, devas see it as ambrosia, and so on. For each, it arises as that one's perception and experience but bears no true existence of its own. Now sentient beings seem to perish due to little things such as weapons, yet the heat and cold of the hells and the hunger and thirst of the pretas do not kill those beings. This fact reveals the fallacy of the true existence, as they are nothing more than mere delusive appearances and experiences. If you examine the causes and conditions, such as a blacksmith who forges the burning iron ground and buildings and creates the flames and firewood of hell, you must recognize that these are merely delusive appearances having no true existence. Moreover, where is the ripening of the vices and karma of the masters and workers in hell? If there is no ripening of karma for them, why should anyone else have to experience it? If you examine these points, you will ascertain that from their own side they are like the appearances of a dream, apart from their mere duration. Ascertain that all sentient beings subject to their own dualistic grasping involving the I and my, subject and object, are under the domination of the delusive cycle of the 3 realms of existence. Like a body and its shadow, they hold the ground relative to the objects of their own thoughts. This is an enduring process of habitually adhering closely to those various objects. Even during dreams at night, don't you reify and identify with the objects of earth, water, fire, air, and space, as well as all buildings, relatives, friends, loved ones, and all manner of sentient beings, not to mention all fears, joys, and sorrows, just as you do in the daytime. If you successively examine all the periods of years, months, and days that have gone by, and all your surroundings, friends, loved ones, possessions, and houses, they are no different from subtle and coarse dreams. Moreover, there is not the slightest bit of difference between the 360 daytime appearances and 360 nighttime appearances of 1 year, apart from the mere degree of subtlety and coarseness of those experiences. Where do the subjects and objects of daytime appearances go at night? The subjects and objects of nighttime appearances are nowhere to be found during the daytime. Look to see if they are hidden somewhere, and you will find that they are alike, they are not other than your own mind. Observe that the difference between the birth and death of sentient beings in a dream and the birth and death of sentient beings that appear in the daytime is a matter of delusive appearances and experiences. Even though you recognize the phenomenal world as consisting of mental apparitions, if you grasp at the deluded agent as being internal and the delusive appearances as being external, like an illusion and an illusionist or a dream and a dreamer, you are tightly bound by chains of dualistic grasping. Instead, know that the conceptualized self that is grasped as I, and all its aspects that are established as the external physical world and its internal sentient inhabitants are arising within the expanse of the all-pervasive essential nature of the mind, devoid of a center and periphery. They do not exist beyond the expanse of that essential nature, just as the reflections in a mirror do not exist beyond the face of the mirror. Moreover, wherever you transmigrate and take birth within the three realms of existence, you do not proceed to new places after leaving the earlier ones behind. Rather, like daytime appearances and dream appearances, one experience of delusive appearances becomes another. Therefore, come to the certain recognition that samsara consists of delusive experiences. Samsara and nirvana are wholly present as your own perceptions, and they are wholly included within the expanse of the essential nature. This essential nature is called the ground. The unaware aspect of the ground is called the substrate, and its purer aspect is called the dharmakaya. Due to its being exhausted in the darkness of unawareness, this very primordial ground, like space, which enables all appearances to arise, is the substrate. The appearing aspect of dualistic conceptualization manifests as the delusive experiences of displays of the three realms. The essential nature of the ground is like the essential nature of space, which is not transformed by the day and night, does not turn into anything else, and enables the appearances of light and darkness. Accordingly, it is called samantabhadra, devoid of the good and bad. Its manifest nature delusively appears as the mind, but within the inner glow of the womb, it is self-emergently established as the ground of the five facets of primordial consciousness, the five kayas, and the five buddha fields. Therefore, it is great, connate primordial consciousness. The deities and buddha fields of nirvana are also spontaneously, wholly present in your own ground, Buddha fields, as well as autonomous deities who move to or are born into one realm after another, are nothing more than dualistic appearances and experiences. For those who err in this regard, even if they actualize the Jnanasattvas, they have no basis or root for transcending mundane existence. Once the root that appears in this way is penetrated and severed, and not merely scrutinized, from then onward reification and clinging must naturally be severed as well. When you are on the path, do not engage in even the slightest bit of intellectual examination of the mere nature of existence. Without any investigation, analysis, meditative practice, modification, or alteration, relax within yourself in the essential nature. By loosely and completely resting there, appearances of creative expressions will naturally flow forth, releasing themselves. This is called illumination by primordial consciousness of the face of the great perfection of samsara and nirvana. All modification, alteration, hope, fear, doubt, negation, affirmation, grasping, exertion, investigation, and analysis are imputed by the intellect, and the intellect is not ultimate. The ultimate transcends the intellect, so you must know this critical point. When you are utterly settled, you may fall into error, and while you are present in the aspect of emptiness, thoughts may become hidden, beyond the scope of the creative expressions of pristine awareness. In this case, I say that thoughts become ethically neutral in the boundary between the mind and pristine awareness. Not veering away from the nature of existence of the great perfection of samsara and nirvana is a sublime and utterly crucial point. With it all gods and demons and all of samsara and nirvana are liberated within themselves, with no distinction of good and bad. On the occasion of extinction into ultimate reality, all such appearances subside into their own inner luminosity, like the dissolution of illusory apparitions, or the moon in an empty sky vanishing into space, and it is as if the crystal light of unobscured primordial consciousness subsides within. From your own perspective, activities for the sake of others are effortless. The radiance from the inner glow of the expanse manifests as the naturally unimpeded 5 kayas and 5 Buddha fields, and from them the creative expressions of compassionate nirmanakayas as self-emergent teachers who are the disciple's own perceptions. Since I have not entered the treasury of hearing and reflection and have not served even one sublime spiritual mentor, I am not skilled in composition, so please do not be dismayed with me. Hey, hey. In originally pure absolute space, free of extremes. In the spontaneously actualized display of the palace of clear light. From the nature of non-dual bliss and emptiness. The connate embodiments of pristine awareness, Padmasambhava and VAJRA, are not mentally projected but are the face of the nature of existence itself. From a state of non-exertion I naturally meet him. And receive the inheritance of the treasury of the expanse of ultimate reality. Do not mistake these practical instructions for fantastic songs sung in the marketplace. Do not ruin yourself in order to slay others. Human life is like the melting sun at dusk. So do not engage in acts of deception, which ruin you and others. The proliferation of scholarly acts of erudition involving lists and calculations is the threshold of pride, conceit, and false views. Either because the achievement of liberation occurs within your own midstream, or because the root of all dharmas stems from your own midstream. After you have spiritually matured, of course this will benefit others as well. Once we have investigated our own foolish midstreams, we do not hope that our water drop will be able to relieve others. If we observe the 5 poisons, the attachments, and the aversions of our own midstreams, we do not hope that our compounded toxins will be nurturing medicines to protect others. Hey, hey. If you rest without modification in self-emergent pristine awareness, the creator of samsara and nirvana is released in this one way. So do not seek the root of practical instructions elsewhere. And abandon every hope of achieving or acquiring results. If you investigate the causal process of this and future lives and of days and nights, they are found to be delusive experiences of dualistic thoughts. So reveal the fallacy of the habitual propensity for mistakenly clinging to them as being autonomous. Deeply and decisively fathom the full import of hearing and reflection. Be skeptical of contrived meditations in which discursive thoughts are welcomed and followed. Don't be like those pathetic contemplatives who are caught in the middle, where the face of the nature of existence, the sun of the great perfection, is hidden by the clouds of deviations and obscurations of dualistic grasping. When I observe the many fluctuations of thoughts, I burst into laughter at the hope for the great perfection in him. Hey, hey. Do not look for autonomous Buddhas. Apart from the essential nature, having no boundaries, of the originally pure, primordial ground. All the false patterns of delusive experiences, externally and internally, of the physical world and its sentient inhabitants, are wholly present in the expanse of the essential nature. This is our great perfection. In the unchanging, all-pervasive realm of bliss and emptiness, arises the totality of displays of the vast, all-encompassing expanse, where the sun of clear light rises without setting. Within an invulnerable fortress, a spontaneously actualized palace. This useless old man, as an embodiment of pristine awareness of ultimate reality, holds his own ground on an unshakable throne of inseparable skillful means and wisdom, resting upon the corpses of mental afflictions. I don't understand due to explanations, nor do I realize due to teachings. My teacher is the lake-born Vajra, who granted me a cherished treasure of the inheritance of the enlightened view lineage, 165, which has no presentation or lists of the grounds and paths. I take the essential nature as the path, that is my patrilineal Dharma. I am not bound by the reification of visualizations, recitations, worship, and accomplishment. For my way is one of non-meditation, non-worship, and non-accomplishment. My own grounding, transcending the intellect, is infinite, with no boundaries. Without antidotes, modifications, alterations, or intellectual imputations, and uncontaminated by anything to observe, maintain, or investigate. Having released into openness, unstructured, without fabrication or referential object. In the yoga of inactivity, transcending good and bad, hope and fear, rejection and acceptance, there was wide open clarity, with nothing to do. In the self-emergent expanse of originally present primordial consciousness, by transforming into the unmodified nature of loose release, the knots of dualistic grasping were directly dissolved. Once samsara and nirvana were purified as the Dharmakaya. The bonds of samsara and nirvana were cut from my heart. Once the darkness of unawareness vanished into empty awareness. The stake of attachment and clinging was wrenched up from its base. In the womb of unimpeded openness, the essential nature of non-objectivity destroyed and expelled identification with hopes and fears, joys and sorrows. In the absolute space of emptiness, the wisdom of identitylessness destroyed and expelled into oblivion the chains of self-grasping. As the expansive enlightened view of Samantabhadra effortlessly flowed forth, I leapt to the state of a spontaneously actualized Vidyadhara. May all sentient beings throughout space who see, hear, recall, or touch me encounter their own essential nature as self-emergent kayas of pristine awareness, and definitely come to the expanse of Samantabhadra. In response to the earnest request by the sublime Guru Sonampalden, a relative of Dodrup Rinpoche, the foolish idiot Sakutsapa Düdjom Dorje Trilo Sal uttered this foolish dharma of an idiot clothed in mud and feathers. Svasti. 1. This well-bestowed, unique, ultimate teaching on the vital core of the enlightened view of Samantabhadra, the essence of pith instructions concerning the effortless, supreme jnana, the arti great perfection, the primordial consciousness of the Dharmakaya, has been nakedly placed in your hands. 2. In order to burst the fine, pretentious bubbles of the intellectually fabricated meditations of fools, seize this all-sufficient, golden needle of pith instructions and dispense with the elaboration of a multitude of practices. O fortunate assembly, come to the ground of primordial liberation. 3. For this purpose the king and queen of Sikkim, of divine ancestry, opened the unlocked door to a feast of sacred relics of pith instructions. You who seek liberation, come for your portion of the ambrosia that dispels misery. 4. By the power of stainless merit, may all beings become vessels for the profound and secret great perfection, and having dredged the depths of samsara in the expanse of the extinction into ultimate reality, may the whole world come to the equal taste of great bliss of Samantabhadra. In order to fulfill the wish of a pure practitioner, Jikril Yeshe Dorje uttered these verses for a later edition of the text. May this serve as a cause for this precious teaching of the mind of Samantabhadra to be as enduring and pervasive as space. Sarva Mangalam.